Hey, movers and shakers, welcome to another awesome episode of the Seven Figure Moving Academy. Today, we're going to be talking about the 9 most vital documents that you need in your moving business. These are the documents that you need to cover your ass. So if you're interested in those, stay tuned. Hi guys, I'm Jay Burnham, and this is the Seven Figure Moving Academy. Glad to have you here. We're talking about the 8 most vital documents that you need to have in your moving business. If you do not have these 8 documents, which we're going to go over here very, very quickly, you're losing out. You're going to be losing money. It's going to cause you a lot of problems in the long run. But before we get into it, let's get into some little house cleaning here. This video is being sponsored by Moversville. Moversville is a premier source to help you send out emails to all of your prospective and former clients. If you need to have an email campaign that's going to just rock and knock the socks off of your former customers and any of the potential real estate agents, etc., that you're looking to inspire, then you're going to want moversville.com. Make sure you go to that website. Not only that, at connect.moversville.com, it is a premier source for movers that has a complete resource of everything that you might need. It's a resource for moving company insurance, SEO, website development, insurance, supplies, everything that you would need to have as a moving company to start out or even to build your moving company. Connect.moversville.com is your premier source. And get this, guys, connect.moversville.com is completely 100% free for you. So guys, let's get into the video. Today, guys, we are talking about the 8 most vital documents that you're going to need for your moving business, bar none. These documents, some of them are common sense, and some of you guys are going to, for the first time, even hearing about some of these documents. But these documents you must have in place, whether you have them in your CRM or whether you're using paper and pen. Doesn't matter. You have to have these documents for your moving company. Some are required by law. Some of them are there just to cover your ass. So without further ado, let's get in. Number 1, your contract. Believe it or not, you guys, you've got to have a contract. And a contract is basically a document that closes the job. It's basically says the shipper agrees to hire you, carrier, to do XYZ moving services. It explains what the moving is, whether it's bonding, non-binding, hourly, not to exceed, etc. It may contain your terms and conditions, and sometimes it is also incorporated with your bill of lading, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. But you definitely have to have a contract. It's basically the agreement, signed agreement between you and your shipper saying, yes, the shipper is going to be using your services. Without a contract signed, the shipper can just go wee, and it can cause a lot of problems in your moving business. You have to have a signed contract. The next documents that you're going to want are proposal letters. Now, you should have a proposal letter for every kind of scenario. You should have a proposal letter just for hourly moves. You should have a proposal for hourly plus storage, or an hourly plus packing, or a long distance plus packing, long distance plus storage, long distance plus packing plus storage, long distance plus packing plus storage plus sit in transit. You should have a proposal letter that covers all scenarios that you might run into. Sometimes your customer only needs an hourly job. You're going to have a proposal just specifically breaking down how many men, how many trucks, how many hours that you're expecting that move to go. Without that proposal letter, there could be a lot of confusions within between you and the carrier. I mean, between you and your shipper. So you want to make sure that you have a proposal letter. Some of the proposal letters, the best proposal letters, in my opinion, are proposal letters that actually kind of give a little bit about what you can and cannot do. It should give some basic ideas of some of your terms and conditions. It should also say what some of the additional prices that you might charge. Maybe you charge additionally to do unhooking of washers and dryers and or taking TVs off the wall, etc. Maybe there you have an extra charge for making if you have to take the door off of a refrigerator or large refrigerators or heavy items or long carries. Your proposal letter should have that in it as well. So not only will they get your hourly or your long distance or your binding estimate, because basically a proposal is just your estimate, but it also lists out the additional charges that may occur if certain things are not done. If the shipper, for instance, is going to do all their packing and they don't do all their packing when it comes to moving day, well, your proposal says, hey, our estimate said this, but you didn't get the packing done, so now we're going to charge you additionally for these charges. This is what your proposal letter will do and inform your customer on. You should definitely have a signed proposal and signed contract before you book any job. All right, the next one we're going to be getting into is your terms and conditions. Now, you guys, you should have a lengthy set of terms and conditions. Every scenario, whether if they don't pay you, what is the procedure of if they don't pay you? You should have your arbitration program. It should have your damage claim policy. It should have and if what happens if they don't pack and when they do pack. What happens if you have to sit? Basically, the terms and conditions basically delineates exactly what you're going to do for the customer and what the customer should be doing prior to the move. It sets the expectations. By having them sign that before the job is even started, you're going to save yourself a lot of problems. Because if they violate the terms and conditions, they sign the terms and conditions, which could also be part of your contract. If they sign it and they don't fulfill their portion of the contract or their portion of the terms and conditions, you can then set yourself up positively if you have to escalate this to, unfortunately, to like take them to court if you have to. Or you could just say, hey, per the terms and conditions, this is what we promised. So let's say they have a problem with your services. Your terms and conditions say, well, this is what our terms and conditions say. If they want to know how to fill out a damage claim, this is what our terms and conditions state. And then you have them follow that procedure. And that gives the expectations of what your shipper is going to expect of you and what is expected of them. You should definitely have a very thorough set of terms and conditions. Right? The next thing you're going to want is waivers. Waivers are a lifesaver for your moving company. You're going to want a waiver for every kind of scenario. If the customer wants you to drive on their lawn, there's a waiver. If a customer's asking you to do something that's not in your terms and conditions that could potentially be a libelous for you down the road, something that could expose you to some liability, you're going to want a waiver. Now, a lot of times waivers are not legal, but they are a great detriment to the shipper. You have the shipper fill out a waiver, they're most likely not going to take you to court. Sometimes those waivers are meaningless. And so they could take you to court anyway. But by having the waiver and saying, hey, you can't hold us responsible for such and such action, will make them think twice before even trying to attempt that. You're going to want waivers for various things. Actually, you should actually go to Seven Figure Moving Academy membership, sign up. It's only $10 a month. We do offer a $1 free trial, or not free trial, but a $1 7-day trial to the Seven Figure Movie.com membership. So go in there, check it out, download all the waivers, all the contracts, all the documents that you want. It's basically a business in a box. It's a turnkey operation. You can go go to this membership program just for $1 for the first 7 days. After that, you will be billed $10 a month. Or you can just pay us $99 a month every year in the yearly subscription. That's going to give you a $20 savings. But if you go to the membership group, which I will leave a link, and the website is the sevenfiguremoving.academy. You go to that website, you can join up in the membership group, and you're going to have everything that you're going to need. But you can also ask the group, hey, what are some of the things that I should have a waiver for? And you're going to get a lot of great advice. You're going to get a lot of great insight on what waivers you should have for the group, for your moving business from the group. All right. So the next one we're going to be talking about is your credit card authorization form. A credit card authorization is a must. First of all, you want a credit card authorization. Even if you don't accept credit cards, having them fill out a credit card authorization form puts it in their mind before they start to do the job. It puts it in their head that, hey, they're going to charge me. If I don't pay, they're going to charge my credit card. They don't need to know whether you accept credit cards or not until like the final bill. But basically you have them fill it out, and basically a credit card authorization form basically gives you permission to run their credit card for the billing of the job. So let's say they do screw you over. Your shipper screws you over and doesn't want to pay. There's some slight damage, so they're going to say that they're going to withhold the payment. That's fine. You've already got their credit card authorization form. Guess what? You enter it in, the credit card information. Boom, the bill's paid, you walk away. Now, if they decide, also if the shipper decides later on they want to go to their credit card provider and say, these guys did a crappy job, blah, 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 I didn't give them authorization, or whatever the crappy, shitty excuse that they have, you can actually send this signed and filled out credit card application into their credit card provider and say, they gave me permission. Here it is in writing. They will lose that case 100% of the time. Unless it's Amex, where Amex will then basically say, yeah, we'll give you your money back. But you can then challenge that and said, here's the authorization form, and then Amex will do whatever they do. Amex is the worst when it comes to that. But the rest of the credit cards, they might put the money on hold. They'll put it like in an escrow. You provide the credit card information, and then basically what the credit card company will do after that, said they'll give you the money and tell their customer, hey, you gave them permission to run the credit card. It's on you. You go do it. You got to go take them to court and get the money back, whatever. But that's going to save you a lot. One, it helps the customer realize that they have fully booked. Because sometimes customers will book with you. If you haven't taken a deposit or you haven't gotten a filled out credit card authorization, they feel that they could still be shopping around for the best deal. And then that screws you, because at the last minute they can cancel. Well, this also prevents them from canceling. It basically puts it in their head that they can't cancel, and they're locked into this move. Two, it protects you if the shipper decides, hey, that they want to try to scam you and take the money back and not pay for it. So you definitely want to have that. The next one we want to talk about is the bill of lading, or what is colloquially called in the industry the BOL. The BOL is basically your list of everything that you're charging for. So it's going to have the address they're moving from, the address they're moving to, the customer's name, any kind of agent, if there's somebody you're going to turn the shipment over to at the destination point. If their shipper's not going to be there, but they're going to have an agent, it's going to have that agent's name and phone number. You're going to list out all the boxes that you used, all the materials you used. You're going to list out how many hours, how many guys, the guy's name. Everything's going to be listed out there. If you had to have a storage in transit, or if you had wait time, it's going to list this all out. And then you can, at the bottom of it, it's going to have the final price. Now, if they filled out a deposit, you can minus deposit. If there was a discount, you minus the discount, and it basically gives them a grand total of what they are due to pay at the end of the move. Okay, so that is something that you're going to want. It is by law required. If you are stopped doing an interstate move, you're going to have to provide a bill of lading, right? You might also be asked for your contracts and your terms and conditions. Rarely that's not done, but you're almost certainly going to be asked for the bill of lading. Now, sometimes, especially new moving companies, their contract and their billing and lading and their terms and conditions are all one document. And that's completely fine. You could definitely do that if you so choose. Just make sure that it is complete and it is signed. You do not want to have any areas that are supposed to be signed not signed. Also on the bill of lading, this is where they're going to indicate whether they're going to take the full valuation or if they're going to do the 60 cents per pound. Because by law, you are actually the default point of insurance is full valuation. If you did not know that, I'm telling you now, the default is full valuation coverage on the shipment. They actually have to opt out of that and actually opt into the 60 cents per pound. That's the basic amount that you can offer, right? But they actually, your shipper actually has to opt into that. If they don't opt into the 60 cents per pound, they are automatically covered by full valuation, whether you knew that or not. So make sure that your contract, your bill of lading, has it where they have to sign for the 60 cents per pound per item. So you definitely want to have that in your bill of lading. I know I just probably blew a lot of people's mind with that. Another thing that you should get in a habit in, it's not super vital, especially if you're a newer moving company and if you're not doing multiple shipments on one vehicle, like you're not a van liner where you're doing 2 or 3 homes or shipments on your trailer, or if you're not one of those bigger companies, they have what's called an inventory sheet. Now, this inventory sheet basically lists out everything that's going. It gives it a number, and it also, on the inventory sheet, it actually says if there's what damages are. And there's actually a system that you used for using shorthand or abbreviations that you can use to say, for the front leg is scratched and damaged. And it's basically an inventory of everything that's going, the condition of that piece, and how many of those pieces, and what the number of that piece is. You definitely want to start getting in the habit, even if you're doing a small local job. I'm not talking an hourly apartment type move. That would just take it very too long. But when you're doing a bigger job, like a 3-bedroom home or bigger, and even if you're doing it locally, or if you're doing it within your particular state, you're doing an intrastate on it, you should get in the habit of doing an inventory. You should have one guy that knows how to do inventories and can do them quickly to actually go and do inventories while the rest of your guys are doing the loading and prepping of the home. And another thing that you want to provide along with the inventory sheet is what's called a bingo sheet. A bingo sheet is basically a big grid that has all the numbers that could potentially be used as far as an inventory goes. So it starts from 1, goes to maybe, I don't know, a couple hundred or whatever it is. And basically, so the inventory will give every single item a number. They put that number on a sticker on the piece of item, and that item goes into the truck. As the stuff is coming off, you give this bingo sheet. The reason why I call it a bingo sheet, because it looks like it's a bingo sheet. So, but it's basically a grid full of the numbers that will correspond with the numbers on the inventory. So if there was 150 items on your inventory, your customer knows that you're going to give them a bingo sheet with 150 numbers. The rest of the numbers might be blacked out and say that they don't apply. So they will know, okay, good. So as the piece of item comes off the inventory, it'll say item number 1. So when item number 1 comes off the truck, the customer, your shipper, can cross off number 1. Next item will be item number 159 or 139. They could cross off 139, and it goes on like that. So basically, the customer knows that they're going to get everything that was put on the truck is coming off the truck. So that actually is a corresponding document with the inventory sheet. I didn't make a separate slide just for your bingo sheet because it does work along with your inventory sheet. So make sure that you have an inventory sheet, and you should be putting it into practice, especially if you're doing an out-of-state move or if you're putting stuff into storage. You definitely want to have an inventory sheet. And then finally, this document is required if you're going to do anything that's going to cross state lines. Some states actually require it within the state. There are just a few handful of states, maybe just maybe 5 or 6 states that don't require this document, but that document is the tariff. And a tariff is basically a list of every service that you provide and how much it costs. There's a little bit more to the tariff because the tariff also requires you to basically delineate how your damage claim procedure is, and basically gives the instructions of how to do a damage claim, what you're charging for your damage claim, what deductibles are for your damage claim, and what your arbitration program is. It also is supposed to give all your information, like your company name, your company address, phone number, email, website. Everything is supposed to be that, plus all your licensing numbers, your state license number, your DOT number, and your interstate number, your MC number, whatever you wish to call it. So a tariff is definitely something that you have to have published publicly. You could publish it on your website, or you could just publish it within a database that the government has. I would suggest as a lot of moving companies do, they actually publish it on their website. It's usually typically not that easy to find, but you're supposed to have it published, and the customer's supposed to have access to it. I would actually publish it on your website. Have it published on your website, where they can download it as a PDF, or have it or put it in your hub email. And we actually talked about your welcome hub email. I will leave a link to that right above. Have it in your hub email, so if they need to have and you just say, hey, for our tariff, go to this link, and then they could go to the link where it is published on your website, or that link will go into for the download of the PDF of your tariff. But it's definitely something that you're supposed to provide, and something that your customer is supposed to be able to have access to. So make sure that you definitely have that. However, there are some states don't require a tariff, and most states that I know of, and I could be wrong, I don't know all the rules of every single state, but if you're doing a local hourly job, most likely you don't need a tariff. But if you're going to do a long distance job, whether it's in an intrastate, and definitely if it's an interstate, you're definitely going to want a tariff. So these are the 8 most vital documents that you have to have. Now, there are some other documents that you should have and should make accessible to your customers. They're not that vital. They're not that specific, but we'll just go over a couple. First of all is a PDF. This PDF is called the Rights and Responsibilities. It's an ebook. You can either give this ebook to your shipper in hand as a physical copy, or you can send them to a link to a download from a government site. This, by law, you are supposed to provide to your shipper every single time. It is not something that you need for your documentation, but it is a document that is supposed to be given to your shipper by law, by federal law. You're supposed to give access to this booklet to your shipper. You could, like I said, you could do it physically, or you could do it by a link where they can download the PDF, or just go to the government site and they can read it online. But however you do it, you're supposed to be providing this particular PDF or document. Another one that you're going to want to look into, and again, I'm not an attorney, so you're going to want to check with your attorney on these, but are what's called addendums. And addendums are additional items that you put on a contract. Now, depending on what you're doing, some people do office moves. I'm not an office mover guy. I've done some small basic office moves, but sometimes you're going to want addendums for office moves, because they're going to ask you to move items that are extraordinary, or something that's a little out of the usual, or you got to have a different verbiage on something. Addendum might be something. Let's say you're moving into you're moving into a building that requires special insurance, or something written in the contract. I don't know all the specifics on the addendums. I have never used an addendum in my moving career, but I have heard that being used in other circumstances. So it might be something that you might want to check out. Of course, you're going to want your other documentation. It's not documentation that you're going to need to provide to your customer. necessarily, but it is definitely something you're going to want to have on hand, and that's going to be your insurance documentation. You're going to want your insurance certificate. That you're going to want to make sure that that's accessible. I would put it on your website. You can have it as a download. I would just put it as a post or a page, and they could have a link to your insurance paperwork. Again, that's not something that your customer necessarily has to have, but it might be something that you might have to provide to a big apartment building or office building where they're going to be named as an additional insured. That is definitely something that you're going to want. Again, it's not something that you necessarily have to give to your customer. It's not that vital for them per se. It is something that you have to be legal, but it's not necessarily something you have to provide all the time. But it should definitely be acceptable. Of course, obviously, your licensing paperwork, it has to be in order. Well, that's more for the federal and state governments to handle. Also, it's something that if the customer wants to look at it, you should provide your certificate of and proof of being licensed in the state of Michigan or whatever state you are. So make sure that those documents are accessible and available. Again, they're not so vital that you have to make sure your customer signs. The rest of the other 8 that we specifically talked about before that is definitely something that you want to provide to your customers. Again, you could provide all of these documents that are not necessarily something that have to sign. You can provide that as part of your email or your welcome email or your hub email. But you definitely need to make sure that these documents are available in some manner or form. So thank you guys. If you like this video, great. If there's any of the documents that you do not have and that you would like to have access, please go to sevenfiguremoving.academy and sign up for our membership group. It's a Facebook group, but it's a $10 a month, or you could pay $99 for the entire year for one payment and save yourself $20. We do offer a $1 free trial, so you got 7 days to get in there, ask your questions, see the value of the group for $1. $1 for 7 days. After 7 days, you will be billed the $10, and that will be billed to you every single month. I definitely encourage you to go to that. There will be a link down in the description below. That's called the sevenfiguremoving.academy to that, or you can just go to the Facebook group, and there will be a link that you can go to. All right, guys, but we definitely have all this stuff and more in our file section and the access to the group members. Plus, you're going to get mentorship and free advice from all of our group members there. We have a group of almost 1,000 people. We are the largest Facebook private membership group of its kind on Facebook or on the internet, period, bar none. There is no other group as large as us that has as much information that is just totally accessible to you, the mover. So get into it fine. It's cheap, guys. If you can't afford $10 a month, dude, I don't want your business. You shouldn't even be in business. If you can't afford $10 a month and you're trying to start a business and you can't invest $10 a month, I don't even want you guys. I really don't. To just be frank, I don't want you, because I mean it's such a small amount of money for such a huge return on investment. Anyway, guys, if you like this video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't like this video, give me a thumbs up. Tell me in the comments section below what documents that you need, or what documents you would like me to provide to you that you need help with. I want to see what documents that you need help with, that you need, and what you need done. That way I can maybe do a video on these particular documents and show you how it's done and how it's used. So leave me a comment below what documents that you need help with, or the documents that you need. Also, make sure you hit the thumbs up button. Subscribe to this channel. If you're not yet subscribed, make sure you hit the bell button, because that's going to let you know when we upload a new video. Secondly, guys, I want to also let you know that I need you to share this video with all your family and friends. It helps me produce more videos, because in my videos, more views I get, then I know what's more popular, and then I can make more videos regarding that subject matter so I can help you guys, because this is what it's about. Right? I've already done my job. I've created my business. I've been successful in my business. I'm here to help you. So I need to know what subject matter that you guys like and prefer. So by doing it, this is how I know what subject matter and what videos I need to provide. You'll share it and you'll like it and you'll leave comments. When I see all those threes, those three items being done, then I go, okay, this is a popular video. This is a subject people would like me to do a deep dive in. So make sure you do that for me. Thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. You guys are great. Go and do something great today. Thank you.